Before trying this trick, you want to be at least fairly comfortable rolling down a transition fakie. I wouldn't say you need to have fakie mastered before trying to do a rock, but you should be able to at least roll out on most attempts.
And if this is your first time trying this trick, I'm going to recommend trying it on a bank before taking it to a quarter pipe. So just find a small mellow bank, just like this one.
And all we're going to do is roll up and down fakie, but we're going to allow our front wheels to roll up to the flat.
This is going to be helpful for learning rock fakies for two reasons.
Reason number one is that this is a flat bank, which means there's no transition. This will make it easier as you won't have to adjust your weight as much, and because you're less likely to shoot out, it also makes things a lot safer. Reason number two is that there's no coping. Having no coping means we don't need to worry about the most dangerous part of a rock fakie, which would be hanging up at the top of the ramp. And once you have this on lock on a bank, then you're ready to take it to a quarter.
So now that you're ready to take this to the transition, the first thing I'd recommend is finding the ideal ramp to learn this on.
Personally, I'd suggest a quarter pipe, but if you're already comfortable dropping in and pumping, then you may find this trick easier on a half pipe or mini ramp. So let's talk foot position. Pretty standard for this trick, front foot doesn't matter too much and can pretty much go anywhere around the front bolts. The back foot, however, is very important as you need to use it to put pressure on the tail to lift the front wheels. Now let's talk about speed. For your first few attempts, I'm going to recommend that you just roll up and down the ramp fakie with your wheels underneath the coping. Once you start to feel comfortable doing that, then go a bit faster and see if you can get those wheels over. So you're coming up, and right before those front wheels are about to hit the coping, we put pressure on the tail so the front of the board lifts up and we can go over the coping onto the deck. Now the further you stay inside the transition and avoid going too far on top, then the easier it'll be to keep your body weight inside the ramp and come back in fakie. Although if you're struggling here, it may be helpful to practice rolling out of the ramp onto the deck a few times. Once your wheels are going onto the deck, just remember and keep your body weight leaning back into the ramp. It is at this point that we'll want to create a seesaw motion with the board by putting weight on the tail. This will lift up the front wheels just like a seesaw and stop the front truck from hanging up in the coping. You want to keep your front wheels up until your wheels clear the coping. Once your wheels clear, you can put your front wheels back down while you keep your weight on your back foot until you roll off the transition. So now I'm going to go over the two most common issues with learning this trick. One thing I want to mention is that it's extremely important not to turn your shoulders. If you start turning your shoulders, your board will turn in the same direction, preventing you from coming out straight and throwing you off balance. So if you find you're rolling out at a bit of an angle, this is the reason why. The other big issue that I want to mention is the hang up. A hang up is a term skaters use to describe when a skater fails to lift the front truck coming in off a rock and are either forced to bail or to slam as the board hangs up. Obviously you don't want to do this. This is where it's going to be a massive advantage having a ramp without coping to practice on, so even if you don't clear your front wheels, you won't hang up. If you don't have access to a ramp without coping, just focus on trying this where the coping doesn't stick out as much. Once you learn this trick, you can start taking it to higher ramps, take it to vert, use it to set up for other fakie tricks, and even make it pretty fancy by doing board slides. And if you've mastered this, why not check out my trick tip on frontside rocks?
Transition? Fuck's sake, cunt.